Cielito lindo.
Hi folks, it's time again for another recipe. A lot of people have asked me about this recipe, and as you can see, you probably already know what we're going to make today. We're going to make tamales. These tamales were something a little special to me. It was a recipe that was given to me by my aunt and uncle many years ago, and I've continued to refine it and change it a little bit to suit my taste and the family's taste. But I would say that tamales are simple in the sense of the word, that they're just a simple food. However, they take a little time, they're a little bit difficult to make, and once you figure it out, though, you'll really enjoy what you're doing. You bring your family and friends together, and you'll have a good time making tamales. The tradition in our house is we generally make them on Christmas Eve. However, on occasions we've made them in the middle of the year. So what I have here, I'm just going to show you a few of the ingredients to kind of get you going, give you an idea of what we need to do here. The first thing we start out with is we start out with a pork shoulder roast, more commonly known as a picnic roast. Uh, the the quantity here on this particular roast is about 5 pounds. But as you're going to see what I'm cooking, I'm going to be cooking a lot more than what you actually see here. But I want to give you the techniques and the ideas and really take it from there on your own. We actually have the good old cholesterol favorite here, lard. We'll discuss that a little bit later. I have some California chili and some what's called it's hard for me to pronounce, Guayano chili. The Guayano chili is a little bit hotter than the California, adds some good flavor to the sauce that cooks with the meat. And then obviously we have the Las Palmas enchilada sauce. It's kind of a staple in the Mexican kitchen, whereas some people would be using a chicken broth. The Las Palmas salsa is kind of a good base for a lot of your red sauces. And then we have the corn husk. And obviously you're going to need a big pot because these tamales are going to be steamed. So like I say, what we're going to do today is really kind of show you the basics on how to do this, how to prepare it, and then you can kind of take it from there. And I missed the one item there, which is the garlic in the bottom there, and we'll add a few other seasonings. This recipe, like I say, is a little bit protracted. We may have to do it in a few parts. There might be tamale part 1, part 2, and part 3. So anyway, let's get started, and we'll start with the meat. Okay, let's cook the meat now, or at least give you an idea how. You know, cooking the meat is probably one of the simplest operations here, or simplest processes in making tamales. What I have here is I have the pot, and this pot is the same pot that I'm going to cook the tamales in or steam them in. In my case, I'm going to cook actually 3 of these roasts in each one of these pots. But the roasts, like I say, they're pork picnic roast, pork shoulder picnic roast. It's not the whole shoulder. This is the picnic roast. It has a smaller bone in it. You yield more meat. So what we'll do is we'll add the last one in there, which is just one more here. I've already got this thing with water. Basically, we just want to make sure that they're covered with water, and the seasoning is real simple. What we've done here is I've already prepped out some garlic. It's about 3 cloves to each pot, so it's about a clove of garlic to each 5 pounds of meat, or each roast. And we'll add about half of that in here, and half in the other pot when it's ready. One of the unique traditions about making tamales that my uncle taught me was you get up early, and I don't know if you can see the clock there on the stove, but it's 3:19 in the morning, and once this comes to a boil, we're going to let it cook for about 3.5 to 4 hours. till the meat is pretty much falling off the bone. But if you don't get up early, you don't get tamales. So we're going to salt this. We're going to be pretty liberal with the salt, and let it come to a boil. I'm going to cover it, and then let it cook for about 3 to 4 hours, and then we'll go from there. Okay, looks like we brought these pork shoulders up to a boil. The one thing you want to do before you cover this up is make sure they haven't stuck to the bottom of the pan. Just make sure they move around a little bit, and I'm going to cover them up, and then what we're going to do is we'll come back in about 3 hours, and they should be done. Okay, the meat's cooked for about 3 hours. I've since let the pan cool down too, so it's fairly cool to your touch. I really didn't want to deal with this stuff when it was hot, especially if I drop it taking it out of here. But it's pretty much, as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, it's fall off the bone cooked. So I'm going to get some of this out of here, and we're going to put it in our pan here, and then we'll shred it up and season it, and I'll show you how to make the chili sauce that goes with this. And one thing we want to do is I'm going to reserve some of this juice that the meat is cooked in, and I'll show you a little trick we're going to use that stuff for a little later. But as you can see, this is pretty much, it's just basically fall off the bone cooked now, done. Keep in mind that I started with 3 of these, and here's the only bone that's in there. And this is one of the reasons why I prefer to use the picnic roast over the pork shoulder. The shoulder, you got a big bone. This one here, you only have this little small bone. So we'll continue to take this out, and from this point on, then we'll shred the meat up for you. Okay, time to cut the meat. And there's one of the bones that I was discussing earlier. I'm going to discard that. And we're basically a pretty simple thing. One thing I want to tell you is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's the snowman tablecloth on here. And this is one of these plastic coated tablecloths. And I highly recommend that you put one of these on your table before you try to make tamales. My wife buys these. We use them once and we throw them out. Anyway, the meat, as you can see here, is pretty much, all I'm going to do is shred it up and put it in the pot, and then we'll season it after that. But this here is, it's just so simple to do. It's something that most families, you can create a tradition with it, get some people over, assemble the tamales, and be ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this meat, and when I come back, I'm going to show you how to prepare the chili to season the meat. One quick thing, you're going to find some fat like this in there. I would prefer to just discard it and try to keep as much of the meat as you can. But, even though they say fat's flavor, there's going to be plenty of fat in these tamales. So we'll see you in a few, and I'll show you how to prepare the chili to season the meat.